What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Senpai, and today I am here with my fellow Aquaforcians, or whatever you want to call us. I have, first off, Cardfight King.
YouTube, Cardfight King here, Aqua Life baby. I know how it is.
I got Commander Jaime,
What's up, amigos? Commander Jaime here today.
and I have WaveNation.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy WaveNation here. Aqua Life Baby. You already know what it is.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about Maelstrom, actually, and because the reveals that happened last Friday actually were pretty good. I think all four of us can agree with that. Some of us, like, we had some degree of playtesting. Wave Nation's been posting videos just about every day about beating the shit out of other high tier decks. uh, and I know CFK and I have been playing, and Commander Jaime. Actually, have you had any experience or had a chance to play with the new Maelstrom stuff?
I have not, but I've been looking at the cards and then also studying WaveNation's videos. And honestly, if they give you enough Counter Blast, you can have some really strong plays with the press stream, and that force the guarantee restand as well too. So good stuff.
All right, so we're all in agreement. These are actually way better cards than I complained about in the Discord for like 2 hours about then.
Yeah, dude. When they first showed these, I was like, they're okay. I even made a video about it, and I was like, this probably won't do too much for Maelstrom, but being able to restand whenever you want is pretty good. Nah, dude, it's nutty because if you build the deck for that one combo every turn, you wipe the fucking floor. Especially I've seen people running decks that still run title assaults, and then they run fronts instead of crits, and then they just go to hit like a shit ton of fronts per turn, and then they just swing over and over with title, and that's cool too. So there's a lot of cool build options for it as well.
CFK, what's been your experience with the deck so far?
To be perfectly honest, it's been better than I expected. I still think that the deck is definitely high roll. I'm not even going to front on that. I think the deck is definitely high roll because if you don't open, with the I guess the on hit enablers, I would have to call them,
Yeah.
then you have a really slow get off, and it can be, depending on the matchup, very hard for you to make a significant comeback. But otherwise, when you do see them, much like Wave Nation has done in his videos, it's very sweet. Multiple drive checks, and overall, I think that it was needed support. But just like in Maelstrom in the past, I still believe that the support, as far as its relevancy in the meta, has come formats too late.
All right. Okay, so with that being said, where do you think it is currently in the meta and the upcoming meta so far as like up to the Luard set anyway?
Um,
I think it's better than Revon for sure.
Oh
I,
yeah, I would agree.
I would say I would put them on par with each other, but I don't think it is better than Revon.
You're tripping.
Why is that?
Um, Revon's more explosive than the deck is, and I say that because I've tested it against Revon and with Revon, and with Revon, I just have so much of a better opening where a trigger doesn't exactly end my turn. Still just being able to explode with Gallius and Coral Assault, even with the new card that we got for Revan, like testing that card out, it was just a lot better. And I feel like with Revan, you're able to sustain a little bit better. But you have, I would say, if all goes well, you have less of a brick potential in terms of if I can get to my grade 3 than Maelstrom. But again, early testing. Take it what I say with a grain of salt.
Okay, that's fair. I think that actually numbers in Maelstrom are better. And I only say that because your first swing of the turn can hit a Vanguard and doesn't really matter. And then your third swing should be the column that hits no matter what, and that doesn't matter if that can hit either. And then your Maelstrom is big twice, and then whatever your last swing is, all your triggers should be going to that card, and that'll swing big as fuck. I've had on my first grade 3 turn, I've ended people's life with a fucking what the hell is that new card? The Flow Fencer, the one that gets plus
Oh
15.
yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
I've had
Fencer.
that like sitting on the outside waiting for fifth battle and just dumped crits on it through the whole turn and then swung for like 60 with 3 damage at the end of the turn to win games.
Yeah.
Like, you can do some pretty nutty stuff. But I do think that like Revon needs less.
He needs
Revon
less
needs
to
less
work.
to work, but like Maelstrom is more consistent in the fact that you'll always have your ride, you'll always be comfortable like going into turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, no, and and that's exactly what I think too. Is that with testing, and I'll say this though, if like I know in my area of Maryland we have a very heavy, like Kagero and like field removal presence, and I think that Maelstrom still suffers from the fact that it does not deal with field removal as well as Ravon can. Because Ravon, we have a lot of our Mirage units, so we get our stuff off a board and build up hands. So, but with Maelstrom likes to have like the Fencer, like Elpedia, likes to have units stick on board turn after turn rather than go away and then hope you draw into something else.
The miraging aspect of Revon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I gotcha. I like to add to it too because like one of the things I've noticed with Revon too is that if you don't really have any combo pieces, maybe if you have the one Coral Assault, you still need other pieces to work with. So if you really don't have a decent setup, it's really hard to do an effective Revon turn. And
Yeah,
I
Maelstrom, you
think
don't
that,
need to commit nearly as hard.
yeah, and that's where I was gonna lean to. That with Maelstrom, you just need the grade 1 or the grade 2 that lets you on hit and maybe another unit at that point to guarantee your restand at that point. And restanding alone with subpar riggers is actually still really good. Kind of like the Overlord aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. So with that being said, like what do you guys feel like the worst and the best matchups are? I think for Aquaforce where we are right for Maelstrom where we are right now, like, and this is just due to my experiences, everybody else's experiences may be the same or maybe different. But I feel like Aquaforce into Luard is really good, or Maelstrom into Luard is really good. Because if Luard doesn't get the turn 1 domain, they're not going to superior ride against you. They don't do anything on their turn 1, their turn 2, barely anything on their turn 3. The pressure from them comes from like later on in the game when they have like 2 or 3 Luards in Soul and they're like just bringing out boards for nothing and
Yeah.
they have crits, but other than that, like Maelstrom's going to outpace it because Maelstrom is doing at least, at minimum, 4 drive checks on average that I've experienced, 6 to 8 drive checks a turn.
Yeah.
And in WaveNation's case, this mad lad swinging for 10 drive checks a turn. And if
I just swung for 10 against an Overlord player like an hour ago. It was
God.
fucking hilarious.
Oh my god.
Here's what I want to say about the Luard matchup. One thing that's cool is that the Maelstrom support cards, like the ones from last set, not from this set, it's a 6K grade 1 and an 8K grade 2. So effectively, if we go second, which is like generally not good, it puts you at a disadvantage. You can ride your 6 and your 8, like hard mulligan for them, and just damage deny all the way up to 3, and then the Luard player can't do anything.
That agreed. I was gonna say that because like if they don't open within the main, then they can't Leo fall on grade 2 turn to get it.
Yep.
Oh man, and then on top of that, no superior riding. It's really good. So I think like the matchup going into Luard is really really good. I feel like the matchup going into Overlord, that's going to be a little bit difficult because he doesn't care about anything. He's just like, oh, here's Overlord, boom, and he does Overlord things.
So I've actually in my testing, what I've found is that because we search so many Maelstroms and we benefit from having them in the drop zone, like you can use Maelstroms, like getting all them to hand early in the game. You can use those as perfect guard fodders without really wasting any hand that you normally would in any other deck. So like you can survive. Obviously, if you draw into enough like crits or heals or perfect guards, like you can survive the Overlord's like slaughter turn 3, and then still have like a good 5 to 6 cards in hand to smack them back with, and then those cards will also like. So going back to what CFK was saying about not having Mirage units, our cards still replace themselves. Just instead of disappearing from the board, they stay on board. So like it seems like we're not having as good of a control matchup, but it's actually still the same because we're still getting those extra cards to hand. Like Radiant Assault is insane. because that card is literally on placement, draw a card, and then also force the restand. That card is crazy.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, definitely.
Yeah, and
That card would be a triple rare if this was a Maelstrom set, straight up.
The other thing that I wanted to point out too is that with Fluard or even with Overlord or any of the matchups that can get you with that aggression on their grade 2 or grade 3 turn, you're still willing to take that damage, so maybe like 3 damage, and then just come back with a restand turn, and it's just like you come from 0 damage to easily to 4 damage if you really do an effective turn at that point too. So you don't miss out on not giving them damage early on, especially in standard too, because it's less common in standard than it is in premium. But it's just one of those key aspects that let you survive, and that also make a comeback to stay in the game and really get your tempo back at that point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And another thing to remember is that like it's a Force 2 deck that like has a really strong turn 3 pop off, and we still haven't, like, Bushiroad still hasn't implemented a good defensive like response to that, like G guards used to be.
Just use
So
a ticket shield. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, I mean we have a quick
that
shield.
5K will save your ass. But no, like we really don't have, no deck has an answer for the cross right now. So like I feel like we're still in a comfortable spot because like of course like they can sack and like no deck is going to survive that. But if they don't, like we have a really good response to it.
I think I firmly believe that Blade Master is still our worst matchup out of every other possible. I mean, and the thing is, like when you look at Blade Master, people like Blade Master is still one of the more lower valued VRs of the set. But if you notice, like people didn't start picking up Blade Master till towards the end of the set 8 format and the beginning parts of the set 9 format, and it was winning tournaments because it's like, you know, when you play it correctly and build it a certain way, that it's really hard to deal with the board wipe and then the offensive pressure that they generate from them. So, like, I really think that's that's our worst match, especially for Maelstrom. I think that's just our absolute worst matchup.
And I know this is like the podcast for like Maelstrom, but real quick, I want to go off on a little Kagero tangent. Like Blade Master is, in my opinion, it has way more good matchups as a Kagero deck than Overlord does. Just because whatever Blade Master goes into and it's a good matchup for it, it obliterates it. Overlord, when it goes into their good matchups, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep swinging. It doesn't really. It's not like a blowout. It's just okay, whatever. You're doing Overlord things, but Blade Master is just like, oh crap, I have to recover my board. Oh crap, they're getting stuff because I'm not putting anything on the board. And it's just like, it's really, really nice. It's really beautiful. People sleep on Blade Master just because his name isn't Overlord.
I think that's because like Overlord is kind of a self-destruct deck. Like if they go second, they have to fight back and they're like losing all their resources trying to do it. Overlord can't really play from behind. So they need to like win their one shot, which they're good at. They are good at one shotting, but like if they don't really do anything after that. They just keep on swinging for 31 a bunch of times, and that's so easy to handle.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with the new Cred Sentinels that we're gonna get soon.
Ooh,
That's something that we might actually use too.
Yeah.
Oh, also really clutch for early game too if you get those to hand.
Oh yeah.
All right. So anyway, back on track. How do you guys feel about the matchup of Maelstrom into Night Rose or DI Shahara specifically?
I can talk on Night Rose if you guys don't mind.
Yeah,
go
please,
for it.
So with the Night Rose matchup, at least with the Night Rose player, we're going against, depending on what build you play. Let's say we are playing the Navigator, so it's a hyper mill deck that can go off much quicker, grade 2, grade 3 turn. And by the turn you ride Night Rose, you have access to 4 to 5 attacks. And so depending on how much the Maelstrom player gives counterblast really determines how many attacks they're going to get hit by that. So as a Maelstrom player, I would advise not giving them as much damage, so that way you can ride up to your Maelstrom turn and actually explode with that. So if you limit them to 0 to 1 damage early on, they have a choice to either use the Columbard if they ride it on grade 2, or save it for the Night Rose, and then hopefully they use a Dancing Cutlass to countercharge and reuse the counterblast for just 4 attacks at that point too. So if you can limit their counterblast, honestly, Maelstrom can have a decent early game and actually just explode from that matchup too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm actually going to play test against Night Rose tonight with my boy
Mhm.
Birdie. He's going to be trying the deck out.
Oh, the
Awesome.
pale
The
moon
one thing,
guy.
the other
Yeah.
thing that the other thing that I was gonna say with Night Rose is that just be aware of like cards of like Ghost Ship and Skull Dragon, and of course the Rebel Banshee to maintain and build advantage, but also hit you hard because Night Rose gives your regards power, and if you're hitting it with a column, they get 10k instead of just the 5k. So just kind of like use your judgment calls when to actually hit them and give them counterblast versus not to as much, and reserve your hand and find when the turns if you want to explode with Maelstrom, then just explode at that point. Especially if you got those 4 to 5 drive checks per attack,
Mhm.
right?
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
I
I've
get
played the Night Rose matchup a little bit, but like it was like the day that support dropped, so I had no idea what I was doing. I have a totally different mindset now, so I'd have to like play
Mhm.
test again to make any comments.
Definitely. Does
all right.
anyone want to elaborate on DI?
I
Or
would
Shahar?
Oh,
most
Dark Fight
certainly.
King's out.
You know
Dark
it.
Viking.
Yes. I mean, I'll tell you, I am building Shaharlet. I can't lie. I got like 4 play sets of Number of Terrors. Amazing how
4?
that card, dude. We picked up so many Number of Terror. My boy ordered 16 copies. You know, as soon as he saw, it was only like he ordered them for like 30 cents each. So we got like too many over here. But the when it comes to Dark Irregulars, the reason why they've been dominating so much is literally just because of Number of Terror. Number of Terror on a full Shaharlet turn allows them to draw allows you to add 8 cards to your hand, 2 from your drive check, and then 4 from each, and then pretty much 4 from each. What's that stupid thing name? 4 from each Number of Terror, right? And it's the fact that like so you have the damage denied with darker regulars. You let them have a turn 2 play. They go into Demonted or they go into Emblem Master, and if they
Right.
put down a Killer Tail, you let them go into Emblem Master. That's a free 3 soul charge, and then Killer Tail is going to be counter charging
Yep.
for the remainder of the game. So you're going to get it back, and then they can also combo a Demonted onto that turn. So you allow them to soul charge 7 cards on
Oh
turn
yeah.
2. Right now, if they rode on top of Yellow Bolt,
Yellow
that's
vote.
that's
Yep.
9 cards and a potential draw. So you're you have to kind of damage deny them, and then once they get to Shaharlet, if they can meet you, a lot of times you want them not to meet that 13 soul requirement to stand 2. You can deal with them standing 1 but not standing 2. If they see number now, if they open up with Number of Terror, and then it's going to still be an uphill battle because they are going to be drawing a ton of cards, but you want to limit them as much as possible. Now, do I think Maelstrom can do it? Yes, I do think Maelstrom can do it, with the offensive pressure that we get, but we have to think about it and play really defensively because you're
Yep.
going to be spending the majority of the game trying to knock down the brick of a hand that a dark irregular player is going to build up. The protect markers aren't going to matter. We want to fight against protect markers in the Excel clan, um but early on, Dark Irregulars can easily just 1 card guard pretty much everything, and then it may get to a point of if they protect their Vanguard, then you may want to just counterblast deny them and force them to have a truly somewhat of a vanilla turn, even though Shaharlet can still give them power. You want to kind of swing at the sides and remove Number of Terror, because if you remove their draw engine from the board, then and I see why Black Guy was playing Corinthia. If you can remove that draw engine from the board, which they will have more than enough cards in their hand to protect, then Shaharlet becomes a deck where it becomes, I want to say, a false Excel deck where yes, this card is a pseudo Lambros, but you're not going to be drawing 1,000 cards on top of attacking me 5 times in a turn with columns that are 30k and higher. So that's pretty much it. I mean, Dark Irregulars, you have to play smart about, and if they ride Number Terror, you win the game. Like they have no way to search out their grade 3s outside of the grade 3 searcher. So if they ride Number Terror, you
Yep.
you 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 just go in, forget about damage denying all that, because it gets to the point where they can't counterblast. They can't soul charge unless they want to risk soul charging their Charlotte. And then that depends on their build. Do they play the variant grade 3 that can get them a Charlotte from their soul to hand? A lot of people don't play that card, so you know,
Mhm.
Yeah,
it's what it is with
and
that.
one thing also to remember about these protect matchups is that Glory Maelstrom still exists, and one strat that people seem to kind of like stop talking about completely is the fact that you can not use a Force Restander, and you can bait out Perfect Guards to get those out of hand, and then go into Glory and swing with a bunch of like Flow
You're right.
Fencers and Coral Assaults. That still exists, and like we draw so many cards that we can set up for it too.
Oh yeah.
And at that point, you want to start out with the regular Maelstrom, so you'll have the grade 3 Insult too when you do Ride Glory. It
Yeah.
just pans out perfectly.
Glory is a really good like turn 5, turn 6 finisher because like we can get there now, which is crazy. So
Yeah, that's the key aspect. We can actually get there. Now that we're talking about especially a lot of damage to now and not giving so much damage to the opposing clans, I feel like maybe the draws can start leaning towards maybe like 5 or 6 draw. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Just to take advantage of damage checks.
That's actually where I've been at. I've always been a believer in 7-5 or 6-6 for Aquaforce because we're piece reliant, so we need our pieces. We can't if we don't draw them, we won't get them, and then we die. So I just run more draws. It's always how I've been. I've done it in Aquaforce. I've done it in Maelstrom. I've done it in Revan. I've done it in Dracoforce with Thavas. I've done it with Overlord. I've done it with anything that I play, 7-5 or 6-6.
yeah, I can agree with that.
What about you, WaveNation?
For me though, I've been testing 10 crit with 2 of the new Sentinel crits and then 2 draw PGs. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Like Restanders are fundamentally broken with critical triggers, and the fact that we get quad drive twice as like an average play, dude, I'd run 16 crit if like heals weren't so fucking strong and we needed PGs to stop all these crazy force clans. But like crits are just so good, like with Maelstrom. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree. I agree with that. I've personally never been. I've always. I used to believe in the 6 draws and whatnot. Like I used to believe a lot of that. And in some respects I still do. But my mindset has been, and maybe it's the area I play in, or whatever, right? But I feel I value the higher shield value. I feel like
Oh,
when you
same.
play, I feel like when you have draw triggers in the deck, then you're then if you, I feel like you're somewhat not saying that you are, but you feel somewhat uncomfortable with guarding, and that you're so peaceful that you believe that you're never going to get your pieces so much that you have to run an ineffective trigger that give that is one is a random chance to hit, two you're not guaranteed to get the rear guard you want. You could draw into a trigger or things like that, which is my same mindset with the Excel 2. Is that like while I like Excel 2, at the same time I hate when I draw into a trigger with Excel 2 over another rear guard. Something that can help me push my turn. So in that respect, I just I like the higher shield value, especially in this meta now. Here's my thing. I don't want anyone to linger. You let Luard or anything linger too long into late game, they're gonna have 9 force markers, and that's a reality. They'll have like 9 force markers, and you can't do anything about it. And that draw trigger and then when you hit those draw triggers late game, unless it was a defensive draw, then that offensive draw trigger is going to do absolutely nothing for you, and that's going to keep your opponent around another turn. And I just want higher shield value, and when my opponent disrespects my Vanguard and no guards it, I want them to pay.
Yeah, and
Simple
it's
as that.
also a double negative in like the vanilla draw triggers, because not only are you elongating a game that we are not like equipped to guard, but now you also only have a 5k shield in hand. Nothing feels worse than like top decking a draw that's just a 5k shield.
Oh,
that is the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. Like, And even though I did just say I play like 7 or 6 draw triggers, and that was in the past. That's how I normally play it. But with Maelstrom, I feel like like WaveNation said, like going 10-2 is with crits and draw. It's probably the way to go, and I think that's a way to go moving forward. Unless you're a deck that has no way, in shape or form, of like thinning out your deck at all, then you actually
Right.
need all 4 draw triggers because like a lot of decks nowadays, especially since I've been playing Chrono Jet, I've actually been doing 12 crits and I've just been murdering people, and it's not even funny. They're like, "Oh man, he's so good." No, I just crit you a lot. That's it. Because so go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. Finish your.
Yeah, because just like Maelstrom, Jet can get 5 drive checks a turn. I mean, at least with Aircab. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say one matchup that I wanted to talk about. I don't know, like I haven't been paying too much attention to the Japanese meta after I heard that Luard was 50% of it. So I don't know how much. I don't know how much. Yeah, I don't know how much traction Gridora is making over there. But like a lot of my boys, like a lot of people down in Florida and like this like southeast region of the United States, love Gridora, including myself. And I think that we have one of the most disgustingly hilarious matchups against that deck in playtesting with Gridora, because Gridora seems to kind of slap a lot of the big shit in the meta right now. And dude, if you like go onto Maelstrom and play as you normally would, ignore the cradle markers completely, and then once your board is cradle markered to the point where you can't use Maelstrom anymore, if you ride into Glory, your front row still swings for 15k because they can't boost, but they can still swing. And like, if you're not killing your cradle markered cards, Gridora's not drawing, so they don't have the hand to keep blocking all those 15k swings. So you could just sit on Glory at like your second or third ride and just beat Gridora's ass, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Now, see, like I had the same feeling. Like I didn't think Gridora would actually matter too much against Maelstrom, like at all. I think it's like, yeah, they do have a unit that you can get turn 1 cradle marker, but I didn't think it would keep up with Aquaforce at all.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts the restand play for sure, but like going on to Glory completely fixes that entire problem.
Okay, so last matchup that I want to bring up, and I think that this is just because it's spicy. Blouse, how do you feel about that?
Ooh,
I don't think they're that good. I think they're a little overhyped. That's just me.
Okay, why is
really?
Um, they rely on you getting Galaxy. If you don't see Galaxy, then the deck doesn't function. And also for the deck to also be good, you need to draw into your grade 2 Blaukruger, which is also you don't have it. It does need to be in the soul, so you need to write it. And I know it has an ability to go into the soul, but the deck just feels kind of slow. And I think again, much like Phantom Blaster Overlord, a lot of what people like about it is the nostalgia factor, but I don't see it being a extremely strong deck that's gonna hold its own.
They have search power for Blouse,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, because I was going to say they have search power, so they can kind of consistently get that off. And then if you also play Victor as a finisher, you can go Victor and then use that new double rare and just like after you beat the shit out of them with Blau early game, you go Victor and just restand that grade 2 like 4 times and shit on them with guard restrict.
And also, they still have.
I've seen people play it like that.
They still have access to screaming and dancing. The Resta
Shout.
Guy, yeah, shout. Resta Guy.
That card's a bait.
Yeah, I know, but still.
You'll lose it every time.
Oh no, we understand. But I had a game where somebody literally on turn 1 dropped 4 of those on me, and then I was like, "Well, shit."
Free board.
Well, opening the nuts.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, they still have access to that card, so they can have some stuff in the soul and accelerate their turn a little bit, or just draw cards.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so where do just a general consensus? What and I'm using air quotes here. What tier do you guys feel like Maelstrom as a deck with the new support is that we know of so far?
So subjective. Are we doing? Is it a tier where it's like you have tier 1, 2, 3, or 0, 1, 2, 3, or A,
Or top 5,
or S, or S, A, B, C, D?
Okay, yeah, let's go. SABD ABC.
Um,
Yeah.
Maelstrom, I feel like initially is going to start out as an A, but I think is higher and is going to be a higher B tier deck.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Luard is by itself in a tier of its own right now. There's some really good decks under it, and then I think that Maelstrom is like a strong like tier 2 or B tier, whatever you want to use.
Yeah, I feel like it's still a deck that can compete, but it's still gonna be worth your money winning those wins.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of
Play
people
with it in
in.
a tournament? Probably not.
I mean, I'm
What
going
was that?
to.
No, I'm talking about in the sense that you have to work for the win. Still,
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
yeah, it's not like a blowout at all.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem with combo based decks though, is that it's always hard for combo based decks to be like a really high tier because the decks that are going to be good are the ones that are consistent and don't need
Yep.
like Overlord needs one card, it needs Overlord. Luard needs one card, it needs to ride Luard, it gets everything else itself. I don't care if you missed your domain early. That's not bricking. That's just not cheesing the shit out of somebody and riding to grade 3 when you shouldn't. Luard without Nemain still is a fucking insanely good deck. So I'm tired of hearing people complain when they don't hit their Nemain. They're like, dude, I bricked. It's like, no, you didn't. Luard doesn't brick. Like, fundamentally, Luard does not brick. That's how the deck works.
I mean,
I'm glad someone said that finally. Yeah, the word does not break.
well, I mean, it could. I mean, you could get your grades to get to grade 3, and then just draw all triggers, and then Cardfight King could drive check 5 triggers on you two restands in a row. But that's all right.
You call all your pieces out of
Right.
deck with Drag Driver, though, so it doesn't matter.
Not if you got damage
Yeah.
denied.
Well, then that's your fault.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
There's nothing you could do about it at that point. Every deck bricks when they got no damage, except Revon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
just
different
feel-
story.
Yeah, I just feel like Luard has self-reliance, like
Yeah.
higher than the rest of the decks, and I think with what I've seen, especially playing in tournaments, especially when you're playing 7 to 10 rounds, consistency is a big factor. And so if you have a consistent deck and you know how to play it well, it gets you really far into top 8. And so that's probably why we saw like the huge representation, like half the meta. Like, yeah, everybody likes Shadow Paladin, but you gotta have some consistency to actually get some tops in there too. And I think it got some tops too, right?
What?
Luard, yeah.
Right.
Luard was literally took 50% of all tournaments.
Yeah, Luard is insane right now. It's half
Right,
per
but
game.
it also sealed the tops too, right? Or some of them at least, right?
What do you mean?
Oh, like the top spots. I haven't seen any
first
results.
place, second place, third place.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't show results?
I haven't seen any results yet, but
They
I
need to show
haven't
those for
looked
real.
for them.
Because you can have a high represented deck, but if it's not securing any of the tops, then is it really that good?
I mean, it's winning most of the top. It's literally you're having tournaments where it's like okay, a 14-person tournament. You won't put too much stock into that because it's a smaller tournament size. Probably your locals, right? 9 out of 14 players are playing Luard. That's over half the field is playing Luard. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that,
definitely there.
Go ahead, WaveNation.
I was gonna say, kind of piggybacking off what you were saying though, like consistency is definitely key though, like straight up. Because if you think about a deck like Overlord, that deck can win without calling a single rear guard except a booster for the Vanguard. That deck can win a game just with one column the entire game, and
That's so true.
like there are going to be games for us where we don't see Radiated Assault on turn 3, or we don't see Alpina on turn 3, or we don't see Press Stream, and like we have an underwhelming restanding turn and we don't just one shot people. So like because of that existing, it's going to be tough. But what I do like is the fact that we have so much Maelstrom searching power now that you can kind of just hard redraw for grade 1s and 2s. You could throw all your Maelstroms back in deck because you know you'll grab 3 or 4 of them by turn 3. So it makes it a little bit easier to be consistent.
You no longer have to worry about the grade 3 right consistency.
Yeah.
Right.
Which was a huge problem in Revon. Holy fuck.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're
It's
only
rev
running.
on or lose.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. All right. So with that being said, I believe we've gotten out everything that we needed to say to bring some awareness to the House of Maelstrom. That it should like. I'm not saying like the deck is oh my god it's so great, but like definitely don't ignore it. Don't sleep on it. Like you will get messed up really badly, and you'll be sitting there like reading these cards, like, no, this doesn't do that. Like,
I can only imagine
like
somebody run into Maelstrom.
I mean,
Getting
I'm
slapped in the
still
face.
gonna try to make it look like the best deck in the world on my channel, but I want more people to play Aquaforce, so like that's my whole goal.
Yeah, and like, welcome aboard, Seaman. Just come on board. We'll teach you. We'll show you the ways. We have videos. We have articles. Just follow us. It'll be all right. We won't steer you wrong. All right, but with that being said, like, you guys got anything that you want to say? You want to do any shout outs? Not any, like, you don't shout out like Pookie or any of them like that, but like.
I want to say shout out to Bushiroad for giving us good Maelstrom support late in the format for the first time ever.
Sure.
Yes. The last time they did it, it was not that great either.
Yeah,
It's funny
Maelstrom
'cause-
was a joke. Let's be real.
Yeah, and the only card was Elder Moss, and it didn't really get good until like the Ripple Maelstrom thing happened.
Yeah.
But I do have a closing thought too. With it's surprising how these cards make Maelstrom actually legitimate playable, and not only just with Glory, but also with the original Maelstrom. So I'm curious how it's gonna pan out for Thavas and for Lambros, since they are the cover cards.
Please
So
be
I'm
good.
excited for that. I know, right?
Please
Our Lord and Savior Thavas.
Yeah, and that in itself scares me, because like usually in a clan set, like in a set, it'll be a mixture of like something with like the other clans. Like the set after us, it's like something Radiant, Thunder, Shocking, Angel, Girls, whatever. Ours is just straight up Blue Cavalry, Aquaforce set. Fuck all you other clans that are in here. It's an Aquaforce set. That's
Pretty much.
Yeah, but
Great Nature with their 2 VRs in our set. How dare they?
but yeah. Anything else? Anybody?
I would say I just really hope that Thavas and Lambros are going to be really strong and give us a deck that doesn't that I just hope that we get a deck that's fun, that's fun and strong and has an interesting mechanic that's going to keep us coming back to playing the deck and
Right.
enjoying it until we see what we get in Overdress. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Overdress hype. Hey.
Go ahead, WaveNation.
I don't really have. I guess I would just say, like, if you're gonna play Maelstrom, the more you play it, the easier it gets. It's not so much combo reliant or like attack pattern reliant as it is like just knowing how to navigate turns 1, 2, and 3. Everything else after that, it's pretty self-explanatory. So you just need to like know how to get through the early game, and then the deck is just really strong.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, hopefully, if you've listened to our words these past like 48 minutes, you've learned something. If you didn't, listen to it again. I do encourage everyone who's listening, please go watch, listen to Commander Jaime. He has a lot of great deck profiles, combo tutorials for standard and premium. WaveNation is funny as shit. Check his channel out. He does and despite how funny it is, he actually does. If you listen to his words, there's actual education in there. In CFK, if you don't watch CFK's channel for anything else, please watch it for the car videos. Please. Oh my god. CFK's car videos are legendary. I love those cars. They're the reason why I started watching his channels, besides the ones when he was in school and he was walking around in the snow being pissed off at everything. I love these three guys. These three guys are legitimately like three of my favorite Cardfight YouTubers. Please check them out. Give them a subscribe if you already haven't. And if you like what you heard on my channel, just leave a like. I don't care. I don't care if you subscribe to me or not, but thank you for listening.
Subscribe to our boy Senpai, bro. What are you talking about?
Well,
Spread the love, baby. Spread the love.
Well, thank you guys for watching. This has been Senpai, Commander Jaime, WaveNation, CFK, Aqua Life, baby. You already know what it is.
Aqua Life, baby.